bad at everything? Because if so, I can help. I can make you not bad at everything by teaching you how to be good at all the end by ends. Get out of here with your silly beginner's method. Don't be so silly. If you have bad cubes, you should probably upgrade to some very good cubes that are still very cheap in case you're extremely poor. For 2x2, you should get the YJMGC. For 3x3, there are a lot of good cubes, but the most versatile is probably going to be the RS3M 2020 because of the addition of the spring adjustment system. For all the big cubes, the best ones are the MGC cubes, which is kind of sad for the other brands, but YJ is just too overpowered. All these cubes are going to cost about $130 US. You may also want to buy some Weight 5 lube to keep your cubes nice and smooth. Anyways, starting with 2x2. The best method for 2x2 is the EG method, which I don't know all the algs for because it uses 128 algorithms. The way that it works is you start by making a face, and then you solve the rest of the cube with one algorithm. This method is so short that it does give you the ability to one look, which means just to see until the end of the solve. This can result in some very speedy solves. If you're lazy and don't care that much about 2x2 but still want to average under 5 seconds, then I suggest you learn the Ortega method. The Ortega method involves solving one face like this, not solving the entire layer but just one face, and then you solve the top face that's opposite from the face that you just solved, and then you do one algorithm to solve the rest. This method is also quite good, and it's the method I use because I'm silly. Also, just so you know, I have tutorials for all of these methods except for the EG method and the RU method, which I'm going to talk about later. I'm probably going to have a tutorial out for both soon, so smash like and sub for that. Now for 3x3. For 3x3, there are two very good methods to learn, which the best speed cubers use, and there are beginner's methods of both of them. The first method and the more popular method is CFOP. With CFOP, you start by solving the cross like that, and then you pair corner and edges to solve the first two layers like this. And then once you're done the first two layers, you do one algorithm to solve the top face, and then one more algorithm to solve the rest of the cube. So the C stands for cross, the F is F2L or first two layers, and then the O is OLL, orient last layer, and the P is permute last layer. The last two steps of this method take 78 algorithms in total, but the beginner method allows you to only learn 16 algorithms. But you will need to do 4 algorithms instead of doing 2 with the advanced version. The other method is the RU method, which is not as popular, but is basically the same speed as CFOP. The RU method starts by solving 2 blocks like this, and the M slice is not taken up by any solved pieces, so you have a lot more freedom to pair pieces like this, and then you insert them. Then you solve the top layer corners like this. Then using some sort of sequence of M and U moves, you get white and yellow on top, so this is right and this is right. Then you solve the left and right edges. And then you are just left with some sort of M and U cycle, which can be solved pretty easily. The last few steps in RU only use M and U moves, which can make it very easy to memorize algorithms, but that doesn't mean that it is easier to memorize than CFOP. And CFOP algorithms are just faster because I can like spam like JPerms really fast. That was not a good example, but M and U moves are definitely slower than R and U moves. But since RU's average move count is about 45 moves and CFOP takes about 55 moves, and including a bunch of other factors, these methods end up canceling out and become basically the same speed. I'm not going to go over why they're the same speed because it doesn't matter. Pick whatever method you feel like, and if you don't like it, switch to the other one. Now we are getting into the bigger cubes, 4x4. For 4x4, it's much more straightforward. The best method is the Yao method, and it goes a little bit something like this. You solve a center. You solve the center that is opposite of this center. Then you solve the first 3 cross edges and put them into the cross like this. Then you just finish up solving these last 4 centers. You finish your last cross edge. And now we just have the last 8 edges, which we use a method called 3-2-3 edge pairing. This is the best method to use for edge pairing, and basically the way that it works is you do a slice, and then you see these two, and then whatever's on top of here, you put down here. So this and this go together, so I put that one, and then I look at this one, and then basically you do the same thing, and then you get 3 edges paired, and then you do a bunch of weird stuff with this one. It's a very weird concept, and I have a tutorial on it, link in the description. Now you have the cross solved on 3x3, so now if you use the CFOP method, it'll be nice. If you use the roux method, you're gonna start crying. You just solve F2L and solve it like a 3x3. You may also run into some impossible cases, and no, your cube is not broken. You have parity. This is called OLL parity, and you have to learn an algorithm for this. It goes like this. And then you continue solving, and you may also get something called PLL parity. I didn't get it this time. You may be thinking, how do I have this? This is not possible on PLL. This is special case, and there's an algorithm for this. And you solve PLL. Now we are moving into the actual big cubes. This one was the imposter. All of these cubes use the same method, which is also used by the best big cube solvers. This method is called the reduction method, and it's kind of like it sounds. You reduce to 3x3. It basically just starts off as the YOW method. You solve this center, and then you solve this center. But instead of just building some random edges, you just keep going with the centers, and you build all of them. And then you just keep going until all the centers are solved. But on 6x6, you also have to be careful, because you cannot solve, for example, white opposite of blue, because on a solved cube, white is opposite of yellow. Don't be so silly. Solve it correctly. Yellow opposite of white. Then we move on to solving the edges, and we use a method called free slice for this. Basically, the way that it works is we see 2 pieces, we get them both into the middle layer, we slice, and then we do more of that. So we look around, these two can pair together with this. It's very similar to the beginner's method. Flip it over, the next piece is over here, insert it in. And then in the beginner's method, you're taught to replace it with an unsolved edge, and then fix all the centers. But with free slice, because of the way that we're doing this, we don't actually have to fix the centers. So you can just keep going until you solved all of the top and the bottom. I don't know why I did that, but the top and bottom with edges, you filled it all up, and then the last 4 edges is a bit different. And now for the last 4 edges, you need a different way to solve them, because you can't replace it with anything. This is very similar to the beginner's method, but there are 3 general ways that we can do this. The first way is the beginner's method way, but you do it more advanced. It's called slice, flip, slice, and basically you slice, you flip, and you slice. It's very interesting stuff, I know. The only difference this method has from the beginner's method is that you need to know how to do things. So for example, this, I wouldn't just, slice and flip and slice a bunch of times. I would figure out how to do this very simply, and instead of flipping that and then like doing a bunch of stuff, what I could do is I could do this, and then now I have them on the same slice, so I could just do a U2. I could flip this, and I could U2, and that solves it. That probably wasn't the best way to solve it, but the next way that you could do it is you could do M, U2, M moves from this way. So for example, I want to pair these two. There we go, 2 pieces solved. This only works if the back slot is unsolved, and this one. Obviously this one will be unsolved, I don't know what I'm saying. The back slot has to be unsolved though. And this can only be used in some occasions, which is kind of sad. The last way is using cycles, which I kind of know how to do, kind of not. I don't use it that much in my solves, but basically you do a bunch of this stuff where you have like this here, and then if I want to pair these 2, I can do like a slice, and then this, whoops, like this and this. Wow, very interesting stuff. Yeah, I'm very bad at that, and I don't know how to do it properly. And then you could get something looking like this. Parity, of course. You learn a parity algorithm for this, and on 7x7, it can look like this. On 5x5 and 7x7, once you finish parity algorithm, you can just continue solving like a 3x3. But with a 6x6, when you finish parity, yeah, you finish parity. But when you keep solving, stupid stuff like this could happen that happened on a 4x4 as well. So a 6x6 has 3 different parity steps to mess up your solve. So yeah, you have to learn a bunch of algorithms for that, which are the same as 4x4, so if you know how to solve that, then it's the same thing. But it's very annoying, and I just wish that it was more like these two. The methods I have tutorials on will be linked in the description. The ones I don't have tutorials on, which is only Root and EG, will be out soon, so please like and sub for that, and also bye.